All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Long here. I'm just actually going to talk to you through about like my impressions with Titanfall, the Titanfall beta that happened just last weekend, and then the half point of this week. So, anyway, I gotta say Titanfall is it's a game that was developed by Respawn Entertainment, basically the development studio made up of people who used to work for Infinity Ward and actually gave birth to the Call of Duty series and have since then actually departed uh, in order to like form their own studio and be and just break new ground for a new franchise. So, Titanfall, I will say that it is actually, that Titanfall. Of course, like when I first heard about Titanfall and and how exactly it was playing, I had a lot of initial doubts about it. The gameplay looked pretty solid before over at PAX Prime, and then afterwards, I actually ended up having to, had the opportunity to finally get into the beta and I gotta say I was like pleasantly surprised. And this is a game that actually made me like first-person shooters again. So I just wanted to start by talking about what this game is basically is about. So, it's a game that emphasizes 6-on-6 action. Um, through all of the games that we've had the opportunity to play so far. The most common, in Titanfall, you're going to start by going through a tutorial, which will actually, talk you through, its great assets. So it starts off as a, your standard FPS, much along the lines of Call of Duty. The only real difference is that this is that Titanfall actually does a really great job in marrying a lot of elements from some other great games, and they managed to just seamlessly marry a lot of gameplay elements into this package, which a lot of people wouldn't think to like put into a game. It works quite well. Um, the movement is absolutely spectacular. It is so easy and it's so joyful to actually be able to wall run and scale walls. You can wall run for a long time. And this is stuff and of course you can also wall hang and kill enemies. That way you can actually so obviously like you're gonna be able to camp corners, but although if you camp for too long, you're going to end up like getting wrecked eventually. So this game absolutely emphasizes the need to be mobile, and in order to actually survive, and also like take advantage of opponents who are exhibiting a lot of different habits that were originally that they used to get away with in the previous Call of Duty games. So here in Titanfall, you can't do that. In Titanfall, you could do that, but then you end up like getting wrecked. Unfortunately, well, for those of you who enjoy like just camping in spots just so you can harvest kills, which is no longer permissible. You actually do have to get off your butt and actually go after people on the battlefield, which is pretty dang cool. So 6v6. I mean, yeah, it does sound like there's not a lot of people, but when you play the game, it actually feels like you're in the middle of a war, and these are and then you're dropped along with 5 other people who are going to be the Titanfall pilots. So it's 6 pilots who are waiting to get Titans dropped. So that they can actually take advantage of the battlefield. So that's not to say, so even though like the Titans are very powerful in their own right, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be invincible. So and I'll kind of explain why. So, the Titans, they are, they are by all their count on all counts like a pretty dang agile for their size. So, in the beta period, we actually had a chance to play as the Atlas model Titans, and quite frankly, uh, the Titans actually move a lot better than expected. They managed to pull it off. It actually definitely feels like you're in a machine that seems near unstoppable, and because Titans, they can walk over soldiers and they can walk all over like pilots who are just waiting to get their Titans. Now the issue comes when the soldiers start fighting back, and now it becomes a game of chess, because the way that pilots can counter a Titan is it is in several ways. So there's actually their anti-Titan weapons. So there were two different weapons that we were able to use. We were able to use the Archer weapon, which only allows you to fire one shot at a time, but it delivers a lot of damage. And then there's the Sidewinder, so you can fire off a lot of little missiles. So the fire rate is definitely there, and you can fire off a whole bunch of them until they deplete. So on their own, they're not enough to take down a Titan. So, but using the right set of strategies, pilots can actually take down whole Titans. So I was able to get into spots where I could support other Titans out in the field, or just like work with a couple of pilots to take down a Titan, which is pretty dang rad. So there's an emphasis on team-based gameplay to take down these hulking menaces. So it feels really great. But otherwise, and then the other way that I was able to take down Titans during the beta period was by basically rodeo or jump on top of a Titan and grab a hold of them and expose the cores, and basically shooting the heck out of the cores. Recommended that you just use your standard weapons, because you can actually kill yourself trying to fire a Sidewinder or an Archer missile into a Titan when you're rodeoing and you're aiming into the core. You're actually going to kill yourself in the process. So I find that there's some really good balance in how like a lone pilot can take down a Titan, given the right set of tactics. And at the same time, the Titan can still be a threat can very much be a threat to the pilots. So there's a lot of different strategy. When you play the game, you're gonna find there's a lot of strategies between when you have to take down a Titan without the use of your very own Titan. If you are just a pilot and you have to go ahead go against a Titan, you're gonna find that you have to maneuver around a bit, because that's the only advantage you're gonna have against a Titan, is that you're small and you're maneuverable, but you have an anti-Titan weapon. So that's something to kind of think about. It's pretty dang cool. But the Titans themselves, they're huge wrecking machines. Of course, like they have the ability to. I mean, they basically fire big guns. They deliver a lot more damage than standard weapons carried around by the pilots, and so there's a really good balance. So in addition, there's actually we had a chance to play 3 different game types. So most of the gameplay I kind of described to you actually is featured in the game type that got played the most, which was attrition. And then attrition, which is is actually going to be the standard game type for most of the Titanfall matches. I enjoyed attrition very much, because I felt like I was contributing to the battlefield. So it was basically like trying to so it's essentially a team deathmatch, but it's the scoring system's done pretty differently. you kill and your goal is to basically score as many kills as possible, because when you kill pilots, titans, and well, basically killing grunts and pilots will essentially reduce the shorten the time required to before your titan drops, and that's which is pretty dang awesome. I kind of like that system, so it doesn't feel like a score streak. It actually that is actually kind of a standard option that you get after a certain time, but it's just simply like killing getting lots of like good kills are definitely going to make the process of you getting your titan much faster, and that's what I very much enjoyed about that. So in addition, like in attrition, you contribute to the number of attrition points required in order to win the match, and not only that, but there also seems to be kind of a narrative, and I'll get into that later when in the match. So yeah, but I'll get into that later, because we would have to discuss that part, because narrative is pretty much key for any kind of game, including this kind of game. So I'll get into this. So yeah, so like the other two modes that I had the privilege of playing was hardpoint, and it's basically your standard hardpoint but with titans. It's a really good. It's still a pretty good like game type, because this actually helps to emphasize the need for teamwork. So you're not just so you have to kind of balance between going after like hard points on the map, and then deciding whether or not to hang back, so that when you get enemy players coming along, you have to kind of stop them from capturing your hard points, obviously. So and the third and last one is called Last Titan Standing. You're basically you get to start off with a titan, but that's the only titan you get. And if you lose your titan, you can still fight, but if everyone else loses their titan, then essentially you lose the round, and you're playing the 4 victories on any pre-chosen map. So you gotta be very careful about. So there, you can't really screw up on that one, because once you lose your titan, you can only support a soldier, but that means that's one less titan that they have to take down before before you lose the match. So you can be very careful, and you use the environment to your advantage to preserve your titan as best as possible, but try to bring down the other 6 titans. So yeah, and that's that. So let's take a look here now. In addition, at the end of every match, you're going to get a set of what they introduced in the game called burn cards. So burn cards are part of the unlockables that you get, in addition to like making progress on your challenges and unlocking loadouts and of course different weapons based on like how frequently you use your weapons. And well, by frequently I mean like whether or not you're getting kills using these types of weapons, or just and you even get awarded for for utilizing parkour skills to your advantage, because there will be special unlocks based on your gameplay. So if you parkour a lot, you're going to get a lot of abilities in burn cards to match your gameplay style, which is kind of what I like about that. So your burn cards are actually unlocked based on your burn cards will the kinds of burn cards you get will depend on your play style. That doesn't mean you get to hoard the burn cards though, because unfortunately you only get a certain limited number of burn cards that you can hold in reserve. Because during the beta, it felt pretty cool to that you can't just simply hoard your burn cards. You're gonna have to make use of them, and that makes sense, because your goal is to get the most out of your gameplay, your gameplay style, and you're simply augmenting them with abilities that that are just like disposable, and you use them one time. So upon death or at the end of the match, that burn card goes away. Um, Now let's see. So, um, uh, okay, so that's yeah. So basically, like the game actually adapts well to your style. So you're actually augmenting whatever skills that you use in the battlefield. So I absolutely enjoy parkouring a lot. So I got a lot of burn cards for running around. So I got things like prosthetic legs, jetpacks, and whatnot. So um, now, now that I've actually talked about like some of the great aspects of the game, so um, oh yeah, there's also the notion of being able to execute, which is pretty nice. So you can actually execute and use a number of abilities to help you with um, with just being a better pilot or a better or commanding a better Titan. So which kind of brings me kind of to what needs to be improved on. So um, one of the gripes that I have and one of the fears I have is that there is no single player campaign. Titanfall is a multiplayer only campaign, and at $60, well, or $59.99 plus tax, basically the game is asking for full retail price without the inclusion of a campaign. So I've heard a lot of talks that that the narrative is going to be interweaved in multiplayer, in a multiplayer setting. So I'm not sure that I believe that right now. I've actually seen certain games where they've promised like new game types or an actual story that is actually fleshed out. So I mean, the mythos behind Titanfall, the people, the civilizations, they look very very interesting. Unfortunately, because there was no mention of, because this is kind of a multiplayer only experience, I'm actually kind of nervous as to how the narrative is actually going to get interweaved. I mean, that's not to say it's not a bad game. It's just simply that it feels empty to me. I mean, I feel kind of naked without being able to play a single player campaign. So if I wanted to play through a story, how exactly does the story get interweaved? I kind of feel as though it's kind of they're gonna do kind of a throwaway story, and which is a huge concern for me. So I mean, like I'm kind of nervous about that, because I worry that if I'm going to pay for full retail price, I kind of want to have a complete gaming package. And by gaming package, I don't mean just a whole bunch of multiplayer types with a ton of maps. Even though the game looks impressive, I still want to have my narrative, because I'm kind of not just because I'm old school like that, but because this feels like kind of a rich world, and I want to actually get to know more about the background behind this game. So the other things that like I kind of got upset about pretty easily were just simply that was party matchmaking, or like or the pre-game lobby. So when you try to create like your awesome squad of pilots to take on the battlefield, there's an issue with that. I mean, basically, like, and I played this one on Xbox One, but the matchmaking, basically the party forming was just downright awful. Basically, you have to add people as friends, even if you have not met them before, in order to. At least that's kind of the experience that we had. It was just downright awful. Creating squads is really difficult to do. I don't understand why. It's either like Respawn that needs to like figure out something, or Microsoft has to figure out something. But yeah, it did not work for me. I hated it very much. I went through the pain with with my friends over the beta period, and it was just downright awful. Oh gosh. So I'm hoping that Respawn actually comes up with something. The other fear that I have is that Respawn is unfortunately like being published by EA, who I think, and that right there really makes me upset. I mean, yes, EA did give the former creators of Call of Duty an opportunity to create something brand new, but that's not to say that EA has maligned a lot of great games in the past. Like for example, Battlefield 4. The quality of that was just downright awful. I can't believe the quality that of the game that came out shortly at in the even in a couple of months later. So my concern is that EA is going to skimp out, is actually going to end up pushing Respawn to just get the game shipped out just so they can cash in on this brand new idea, and that's what concerns me. I don't want it to happen. I sure hope it doesn't happen because this is Respawn's chance um, to prove that they're still a force to be dealt with. Because this game looks pretty good. The game looks really great. The beta is awesome, and it made me real excited. So, okay. So now that I have had the chance to go through like some of the gripes I've had in the game, let's talk about what other things that could happen. So, I think this is a game that is ripe for for clans. The burn cards themselves, as I mentioned before, you only get a certain number of you can only stockpile so many burn cards before you have to start utilizing them. Now, one idea I thought about was that if you have close friends or if you have friends in a clan setting, you can. One thing I'd like to see is the ability to trade burn cards amongst pilots. I mean, I don't know exactly what the narrative behind is with burn cards, but the burn cards are actually like really, they carry a lot of great abilities most of which I just kind of like threw in my on my in my hand to carry in the battle, and I didn't even use them. So I mean so obviously pilots who killed me when I activated these burn cards just out of necessity of needing to use them before I had to start discarding cards. I mean, they essentially scored a lot of a good number of points for canceling my burn cards. Now, granted, it's a minuscule, but that behavior could change over time. It is, after all, a multiplayer game that can get serviced online, so updated online pretty easily. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be a really great thing. And then of course, because of like how rich the world seems, this game world seems, I would love it if yeah. I mean, like, if there's a way for them to mix narrative into this, I'd love to see like how well a squad can perform, when they team up together to basically complete a story, because I actually do want to know what the world of Titanfall is all about. I don't want just this Angel City or this planet to just simply be kind of a throwaway setting so that Titans can rumble on. I actually do want to see I actually do want to see a really good game setting for this, and if that happens to be the case, that that we're not getting a gameplay narrative, I don't care how awesome this game is. I mean, like, I'll give this one game a chance, and then that's it. So I'm pretty much done with the franchise. So that's just kind of me, because I don't want to go through the ordeal of buying iteration after iteration after iteration, year after year after year. I want to see the gameplay narrative. This is otherwise it'll be a deal breaker for me in the long run. But anyway, overall impression, I would say this is one of the most exciting original IPs I've seen so far. This is going to be a really awesome game. I mean, like, the stuff that we were able to do in the beta alone, it was just downright awesome. I really hope that I wanted to see my gameplay narrative, but otherwise, like, it feels really satisfying to be able to take down an entire squad, like, with actual good, tactical gameplay. So, So then it comes down to the final verdict. Do you want to try, buy, or pass on? I would say like, given the beta review, I wish you guys could have tried it, but I would say like for the most part, based on the beta impressions alone, it's a safe bet to actually buy this at launch day. Um, it's a pretty dang good game, from what I've seen so far. Um, so I would say like definitely go for it, because you know very well like I'll be seeing you guys. So anyway, this is LongTTran signing off. If you like what you see here, please do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Um, and yeah, and of course, like if you look down at the links in the description, that's where you'll typically find me as well. This is Long signing off, and thank you very much for watching my video. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.